Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dr. Claire Kinuthia, obstetrician and gynecologist practicing here in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm very, very excited to be having this conversation because, yet again, it's a conversation we like to sweep under the rug. And unfortunately, it affects pretty much everyone, but we pretend and we'll talk about projection a lot today, I feel like, but we do project our issues onto others, and that's what we want to start to address today. So the topic of concern is the culture of shame, specifically to do with body shaming. My guest today, the ever beautiful, ever wonderful, ever smiling, ever happy, Maureen Waititu. This is our second episode together.
I can imagine.
I'm really happy to have you back.
Well, I need shares in this podcast.
Clearly, at this point, we'll be co-hosting. In a few weeks, I'll convince her.
Well, I see it happening.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's
a lot
we
to
have in
discuss.
common. And hey,
Yeah.
but please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she will be sharing a bit about her journey as far as body image and being shamed or feeling shame around her body. So I just want us to delve into that a little bit. I usually like to have a little bit of shameless plugging.
Yes.
So please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about what you do so that people know where to find you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So my name is Maureen Waititu. I'm a mom of two boys. I think it's my proudest hat that I wear.
I love that.
I'm a lawyer. I'm also a full-time content creator, and my content creation is around impact, gender equality, feeling good, so mental health, any conversation that has positive impact to the society. And I'm also a businesswoman. And yes. I'm
and
here,
you're here with your infectious smile.
Yes, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
And I think the audience can see why I love your company so much, because you just smile. Her smile just makes you feel, imagine I don't have problems. I don't have problems in this world.
We can't have problems.
We can't always be suffering.
No. Adults suffer so much.
We really do.
We have to find our own happiness.
True.
Oh,
True.
and I forgot. I'm also a TV host. So I have a show called The Nest.
Okay.
And I love having conversations.
Fantastic.
And telling stories.
And now we all see why I keep having you on the show.
Yes, yes.
So today's topic is a touchy one for a lot of people.
Yes.
We definitely have to issue a trigger warning for anybody who's struggling with their own body image, who is struggling with their weight or how they see themselves. There's extreme forms we appreciate like body dysmorphia or body dysmorphic disorder.
Absolutely.
And so it's not to be taken lightheartedly, but we're not also going to put too much weight on it because I'd like us to share and talk about your experience.
Yes.
Just so that hopefully it helps someone who's listening so that it enables them to overcome what they're struggling with. Because it's honestly such a delicate topic. Yes. There are some people who just can't function because of the way they see themselves. Yeah. And there are people who we know invest in very dangerous methods to lose weight. There's lots of fad diets and lots of dangerous procedures and all sorts of mess just to look a certain way or feel a certain way.
Absolutely.
So that's why I felt this conversation was important to have. And I think you're one of the best people to have it with.
Yes.
Because if anything, we see a very confident Maureen, a very, very confident one. And I'm sure even as you share your story, there'll be people who'll be surprised that it's not 100%. It's not always that I feel great.
Yes.
So maybe just to start at the very beginning.
Yes.
How have you always, starting from when you were a teenager, coming through to being an adult, working out womanhood, and then getting pregnant and carrying your pregnancies, and now through motherhood.
Yes.
What has your body image been through this whole journey? Because again, we are seasonal. Women's bodies are never static.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I think that should be a disclaimer, and we need to really let our audience today know that our bodies change all the time.
All the time.
And I don't mean in months, like in days.
Yeah.
Today you wake up like this. Tomorrow it's different.
Completely different. This fit me yesterday. Today I can't even one leg. Excuse
it
me.
Won't go up.
How are we doing this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I grew up a very different child. Funny enough, I was the youngest in class, like from kindergarten and primary school. I was always a year behind in age.
Yeah.
But I I was among the tallest.
Right.
So there was always you're too tall, you're too that. And it really used to bother me, such that you find when even we're taking like school pictures, I would hide behind and crouch so that I can be shorter.
You can fit in with the rest of the group.
Right. I'd look at the shorter kids and I'm like, I wish I was a bit shorter. So when we're talking about body image, we're not even just talking about weight. We're talking about everything from head to toe.
Yeah.
I had full lips, which that time I hated so much because everybody kept reminding me of how my lips are different, because I come from a family that everybody looks like each other, but I look very different because I look like my dad.
Okay.
And so that's another thing. So I'm like, okay, full lips. I hated them. And then when I became a teenager, now 12, 13, I'm joining Form 1. Now the body starts changing. At some point, I was very skinny. My skirt would barely even, that Form 1 skirt you're given.
Sort of pin things on the side,
And then after 2 years, we went home for school holidays. Then I came back and the same skirt was not fitting.
Right.
It was suddenly too small.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I encountered horrific body image attack from a teacher, actually.
Oh, wow.
And this was a female teacher.
Right.
So the school I was in, what would happen, you're given your uniform in Form 1 and Form 2. Then Form 3 and Form 4, they give you a new one because I think they understood the body would change. But so this is the first term and our uniforms are not ready. So you wear what you have.
Yeah.
And so my skirt was a bit too tight. And I remember being called in an afternoon in an office, and there were these teachers, and this particular teacher, I'll never forget her. I'll never forget her for as long as I live.
They don't understand how much they scar us.
She scarred me so bad.
Yeah.
And what she said was, you're walking around seducing male teachers with your tight skirt. And I was like, but again, wisdom. I don't know. As a 15-year-old, I was like, what do you mean? I'm waiting for my uniform.
Yeah.
This is the uniform I've been wearing. I'm still growing. As far as I'm concerned, what was I supposed to do?
Not come in uniform.
Or not come in uniform.
Yeah.
And so because I was hard-headed according to her, I got suspended, by the way, from the school.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Because your uniform was too tight?
Yes, it was too tight. But then
instead of giving your new uniform.
Exactly. and all this time, imagine you're a teen, everything is changing. Everything.
On a daily basis, pretty much.
Daily basis. It was bad. So I remember like hating it and hating my body so much, such that I was thinking, even every time I'm walking around, I'm hiding.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm a curvy girl.
Right.
And even at my smallest, I'm still curvy. So I'm like, why does my butt look like that? It should be smaller. In fact, now I'm used to admire like very skinny girls.
Yeah.
So at some point, I even stopped eating. I stopped eating because I want to
be as skinny as possible.
As
all the things that you're seeing are telling you this is the ideal body size that you should be. Yeah.
But then that one incident affected me so much because when I got suspended and I stood my ground, and you're called, you come back with a parent, then you're punished. In fact, we used to be sent to the shamba to Lima.
How are you being punished for?
Imagine, for literally my body changing. It changed my life trajectory at that point. I actually ran away from that school.
Okay.
And I went home and I told my mom, I'm not
doing this again.
I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
Now I became the rebellious teenager. But that was the genesis of that. Yeah. The body shaming, imagine being told you're seducing.
That's such a word.
Male teachers. You're 15.
Introducing that idea or that concept into an innocent 15-year-old mind.
Exactly.
That's even more damaging than anything else you could have done.
Yeah.
Because it's a simple thing of engaging you and asking, okay, what's going on?
Exactly.
Why doesn't your skirt fit properly?
Exactly.
Do you think that you're doing this intentionally? Is that where she was coming from?
No. And after that, it really affected my self-esteem. Even when I joined another school and boys would try to approach me, this would be my reaction. When I see a boy coming towards me, I would take off. I would run.
Because now you can't be accused of the same thing.
I can't.
Again. Yeah.
It traumatized me for a very, very long time. So it was a series of, I really didn't enjoy my teenage the way teenagers should. Even when you look at the movies and you see all these teens wearing cute outfits
and they're confident and they talk to their parents easily.
Zero.
Nothing.
Zero.
Okay.
Then the acne. I had proper teenage acne.
Yeah.
And then later on, I joined uni. Mind you, all this time, because of that body weight I had added, I usually call it baby fat because I think every girl goes through that
phase. Yeah.
Until now, maybe you're around 19, 20.
Yeah.
Then now your body stabilizes into whatever it wants to be. Then I became super skinny. I was so skinny.
Right. Okay. You went full circle to the other extreme.
Full circle. and my skinniness actually lasted until I got my second-born son, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I've always been like that.
Yeah.
But then now you'd think, now I'm skinny. I look
you should
hot.
be confident now. This is what you've been wanting.
One day, I took a photo. I was in uni. And it was a very nice photo. I was lying down and it was gorgeous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here as this skinny girl. I'm now starting to gain my confidence. I'm having photo shoots. I'm getting introduced into the modeling world.
Yeah.
Then I enter Twitter. I find a whole thread about my photo and how flat my chest is. And how my bones are sticking out. Surely. These ones used to stick out. These ones, in fact, you know the way people joke?
Yeah.
They'll tell you something like, your hair is like this. It's you. It's part of who you are. Yeah. Or your ears are like this. They used to make fun of my bones.
The clavicles.
These ones. Yeah. And they used to say, I can beba water
actually
from here to Machakos.
Oh, no.
Or I can hang clothes with it.
Yeah.
For some reason, it never bothered me. But that tweet, because of my hair, I was like, there must be something wrong with me. Again, it makes you shrink.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop me because I was able to really launch into a wonderful modeling career, which I say put me through uni and did everything.
Yeah.
Then, around the same time when now things are happening, the big butt became the thing of the day.
Yeah.
Hi, Maureen has no butt. So I'm like, what do you do
just
with
can't
this?
win.
Yeah, even I remember, people casually scanning me and they're like, you have such a nice body. If only you can just work on your butt, like so that it can be plumpier and all that.
Oh, wow, okay.
And around the same time, I think I was, I was dating a person who was in the industry of fitness.
Okay.
We were doing what we could. Honestly, it wasn't bothering me. If anything, it was a blessing to get a baby and snap back, another one and snap back. And I think after I got my second-born child, a year later, I would say is when I first experienced and loved my body.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because I was in between.
Yeah.
Now I have a little,
at least a bit of weight,
like
has
a bit
come
of
on.
weight.
Yeah.
I was also working out.
Yeah.
I did like a whole photo shoot,
Nice.
a concept photo shoot.
Yeah.
And to date, those are the photos I put as in my vision board.
Nice.
And I'll tell you why, because another journey came. So this is, say, 2019. I'm starting to love my body. I even started talking about it. I started encouraging women because now also on that, people are now pulling my photos, comparing me from the girl before the babies. Anakaje, why is her stomach looking like that? I'm like, I just gave birth a month ago.
Exactly. I just had babies. And
what are you talking about?
Women especially are targeted viciously around motherhood. There's this perception that you're just supposed to snap back within the first 6 weeks.
And guess by who? And guess who is attacking them?
Who?
Other women.
True.
I've never,
True.
but I cannot
a man has never walked up to you and said, no
man,
we don't like what
exactly.
we're seeing.
No man has ever approached me and said, no, ever in my entire life. Now, COVID hit. And at the same time, I was going through severe clinical depression and anxiety, and I was put on medication.
Right.
So the medication has serious side
side effects. Yeah, that's true.
And one of the side effects would call it in the streets munchies. So you want to eat all the time. It's like comfort.
Yeah.
And then now you're not going anywhere. You're not moving around.
Yeah, you're not
it wasn't an
active at all.
option.
Yeah.
So from this body I'm trying to enjoy, I start piling on weight.
Yeah.
And it creeps on you and you don't see it. Then kidogo, you've seen yourself on a page on Facebook. Now look at this one. She's starting to look, I don't know, like how they would say the meanest things. Some I can't say because some of the comments involved even tagging other people. Like, oh, I'm trying to look like so and so because the person has a bigger butt.
Yeah.
I've never said this publicly, but I actually approached this plastic surgeon.
Oh, wow.
And I told him, look, doc, me, I don't have money, but I work for you. So you know what I'm capable of doing? Then we quantify. And then when the money reaches, I wanted to fix this body for me.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It had gotten to that extreme.
Yes, I was not okay.
Yeah.
I was not okay.
Yeah.
But then I started having a conversation with Nairobi Bariatrics. In fact, at that point, it wasn't even about weight loss. I wasn't too far gone, but I was gone. Because I was weighing even heavier than I ever did, even with my second pregnancy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
In pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm way heavier, and we're talking of over 10 kgs. By the time now we are seeing these kgs, the doc was like, oh, this is bad because you're already obese, obese one. And you know what that means. And then I'm predisposed to a lot of illnesses I see in my family, diabetes, high blood pressure. Then I'm like, I am too young to start treating these diseases.
This kind of diseases. And once you start, it's pretty much lifelong. Yeah.
I was like, I can't do it. So I went ahead with the procedure, which allowed me to lose about 22 kgs. Although my aim to reach the goal I wanted was around 30.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
But that was better than anything.
Yeah.
So it fixed my confidence. But before that, everything was brutal. The comments I was seeing on social media were so brutal. I even would take screenshots and send them to the hospital because we have a psychotherapy support group, and they would just encourage me. So my weight loss started now being visible, and I had not gone public about it.
Okay.
So it's visible, and people are like, "Damn, you're looking good." Others are like, "Are you sick? Are you stressed?"
Right.
What surgery did she have? Like there were all kinds of comments. Then you're like, no, these people.
Right.
Do I give them my body? They cut the part they
the
don't
part
want
they don't
to
like,
see.
the one they like.
They add the one they want because it's never good enough.
True.
It's never
You're
good enough.
You're actually touching on such an important point when it comes to body shaming.
Yes.
That when is it ever enough? What works for you?
You can never look good enough for these people.
I'm skinny. Yeah. That's a problem. In fact, you start being told either you have a disease, you have some sort of very bad illness, or you're making people look like we are in starvation. It's like your family is associated. Suddenly you guys are starving.
You have problems.
Yeah, you have very big problems.
You're stressed.
And we need to understand what that is. And then you gain the weight, or you're just in a happy place and the weight comes on and suddenly, okay. Even if we had said you gain weight, now this is too much.
It's too much.
What is going on in your life? And you're like, okay, so I can't win. You'll shame me on both ends. Yeah.
What do you want?
So I just stay home and hide. Is that what we want to achieve? Because that's the question I actually have for people who shame others about bodies. We know our bodies, especially women. We know our bodies change in our cycles monthly. There's a phase where usually in your just pre-period, that last week, nothing fits. You have water weight. You're retaining so much fluid. You're bloated. You're exhausted. You don't have the same energy levels. No. And now you actually cannot fit into anything comfortably. So there's a little kafupa that's showing. There's you can't sit at certain angles. There are some things you can't wear. You just retire some things for that week and the week following.
Exactly.
But then why would you shame me about something like that? Exactly. Knowing full well you go through the same experience.
Thank you. And the saddest bit is that 99% it's always women who will body shame you.
Yeah.
Women who've also even given birth women who I would understand the ones who are not understanding what's going on. And it comes with, hey, some of these comments are so brutal. You know, someone will be like this one I saw. Sasa ona huyu hata ameanza kukaa sijui as if being 45 is such a bad age. Anaanza kukaa 45 soon enough sijui ataka kama nini. I'm like,
that's another one. We shame ageism. People around age.
We need to talk
that's
about
a whole nother
ageism one of these days. Yeah,
because it's like we're supposed to reach 32 and then die.
Apparently we should wither and look like grandma.
Disappear, don't even be seen anywhere. Yeah. So that's a whole nother.
It's a whole topic we'll talk about another day. Yeah. So I'm here and suddenly I share. And I shared with a lot of vulnerability and I said, hey, my body has gone through this. Here I am. I'm a mommy. And the most important thing is no matter what you say, because some will be like, don't lose too much. Usikae kama nani. I would actually respond to them with love and, you know, understanding, and I'll tell them, listen, I just want to be healthy. And healthy means to me being in my right BMI. Yeah. It means that my cardiovascular activities are good. Yeah. It means that my joints are fine. It means that the levels in my blood are fine.
That your mental health is fine.
My mental health is fine.
Because whatever we can't keep this stress going.
No, whatever else you're looking for, I'm sorry, me, I don't have it. You go look for yourself.
Do it yourself. True.
Look. And tuwezi fanana si wote. We can all look the same. Embrace Maureen. I may have small boobs, but I have a big heart.
And that is what should count.
And that's what should count. Yeah.
Just to check, because you've given us a little snippets into the journey that you've gone through. What has been your relationship with food? Wow. Through all these phases where you were skinnier, then you were bigger, then you were, you know, recovering now, having done the procedure and now having to change your diet entirely. How do you look back and look at your relationship with food?
Wow. Let me tell you, for the first time ever, this is when I'm enjoying food.
Fantastic. Okay.
Before that, you know, every year, I think there's always a facade.
Yeah.
Bread is bad.
Always something. Yeah.
Sugar is bad.
Go on this diet. Now we're doing keto. Now we're doing intermittent fasting.
There's nothing I had not done.
Right.
But right now, I came to learn simple. It's not the sugar. It's not the carbs that, unless you're maybe allergic or intolerant to some, that make you add weight. It's the calories.
Yeah.
Me, I'll have
the
my
amount
pasta.
That you're putting in. Yeah.
Yes, I'll have my pasta.
Yeah.
I'll have my cheese.
Yeah.
I'll have, as long as it fits within my calories. Yeah. I'm happy with it.
You shouldn't be limited.
Exactly. Yeah. And let me tell you, even at some point, my palate changed. I taste food better.
Okay.
Because I came from eating to survive, not eating at all, especially when I was in a very depressive state. I couldn't eat or drink. Food was not tasting, I don't know, even water was not tasting good.
Right.
I had to sort of manipulate my water, maybe put some lime for it to go down my throat.
Right.
So, hey, it's been a journey. Yeah. But the last, say, 6 months or so, I'm savoring my food.
Oh, good.
I'm able to experience, you know, I'm even eating foods I've never eaten before. And I'm very happy to be able to do that.
Food is not the enemy, basically.
It's actually the best thing. Whoa, food is amazing.
Yeah. You just need to learn how to what your body needs and only consume that.
Exactly.
And then there's always whatever comes in, you need to have out. So if you're not working out, you're going to store. And it's just simple science. This is biology.
Exactly.
So we put so much pressure on ourselves. Oh, I'm gaining so much weight. And yet you're sitting in the cupboard eating all your snacks and you're eating everything in sight and you're ordering
I used to
meals.
Be like that. I used to be a big rat in the pantry.
In the pantry.
In the middle of the night. My husband would be like, I just had footsteps and papers being ripped.
And it's you.
And you know, because of the medication, sometimes you're so sleepy, but you want to eat.
Yeah.
So I'd be in the middle of eating Chris, then I black out.
Oh, wow.
So I wake up and I literally looked like a rat that was I don't want to
invading
ever
your
go
own
back
pantry.
there. I don't want to ever go back there.
Yeah.
And also, of course, you make better choices.
Yeah.
You know what to put in your pantry.
Yeah.
I've seen it changing even with my kids. I've seen their diet changing.
Yeah.
They're able to understand even if they want Skittles or M&Ms, they can only have a certain,
exactly.
and they're very happy with it. Before that should be the entire packet, repeat.
True. And there's no such thing as bad food. Unless you're restricted health-wise or your doctor has said this is something you can't have. Usually it's just about portion control. You don't have to sit there and say, I cannot eat chocolate. Simple. Just have a little bite and then put it away.
And discipline and put it away. Another day, have a bite. Nowadays, I get surprised to see chocolate in the pantry, and I'm like, "Guy, you've been here for a month,
and I haven't recognized
and I've
your
not
presence."
So I have a very good relationship with food now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
So I sort of want to go into a little bit of a story.
Yes.
One of my audience members has shared her story with being shamed around weight specifically and her mental health diagnosis. And I'd like us to explore, just listen to her story and then we can, react to it and also give her a bit of advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll go in. Again, I'm sharing this story on her behalf with her consent, just so that we can keep it anonymous. Because again, shaming is so effective that it's such a burden to come out of.
I agree.
So I always understand when someone isn't brave enough to share the story just yet.
Yes.
But the fact that she allowed for us to discuss, I think that will help a lot of other people as well to feel more comfortable, confident, and able to share their own stories. So I'll just read through it. I was with 2 relatives and we were checking our weight in preparation for a big event. Everyone else's weight was 65 kgs and maybe 70 thereabouts. When I got on the scale, and this is not you, but when I got on the scale, it read 98 kgs. Wow. I was so shocked considering I had never intentionally checked my weight before. One of my relatives went, if I weighed that much, I wouldn't be breathing. I froze and laughed it off. This later led me to being very self-conscious and leaning into unhealthy weight loss programs. Fast forward a year later, I got active, but also got on medication for my mental health. At the time, it led to a lot of weight loss. I then bumped into another relative, and when they saw me, they said, oh my God, unafanya familia yetu ikai iko na shida. You're making our family look like we have problems. I was 72 kgs here. Both instances led me to experience body dysmorphia. And for those who don't know what body dysmorphia is, it's literally when you look in the mirror, you see something completely different from what you actually look like. And it's such a powerful image that you can't shake it.
It's true.
It doesn't matter who says what. If I look in the mirror and I see an elephant, that's all I
what
see.
you are. It's true.
If I see a giraffe, we're too skinny, those legs are too long, that's all you'll see. So when it gets to that level, we actually consider it a clinical diagnosis because it's very difficult for someone's perception to be changed.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes, and it's usually at this point that we do need to intervene as health providers, psychiatrists come on board.
Yes.
We talk to nutritionists, we talk to general practitioners as well, or physicians, who will help this person get back to the healthy weight or help adjust their mindset because it's in the mind. It's not necessarily that you're unhealthy or you're unfit. It's like what you see is not what we are seeing.
Very true.
Yeah. So that just gives a bit of an outlook. I used to look in the mirror and not recognize myself. So exactly that. I hated myself and underate not to gain weight. Eventually, I saw a nutritionist who helped me fix my relationship with food. And my psychiatrist told me the numbers on the scale don't matter if I'm not sleeping or eating properly. It was hard to come to terms with this because the medication I was on at that time now had me gaining more and more weight. So eventually, my sleep and eating started to regulate, but my weight didn't change much. When it comes to my mental health, she actually says, phew, this was still tied to my weight. The first time I was put on medication was to manage extreme anxiety and depression. I was told so my relative now turned around and said I was too dependent on the medication. Yet my prescription that I had been given was only for a month. So she hadn't even finished a month on this medication. No. Anyways, I chose to do what was best for my health and I listened to my doctors. Because of the cost of listening to relatives had become too high for me, I was able to step away.
Yes.
She also says, around church people, I was told I was not praying enough.
Oh dear.
So how do you win? That's her story.
Wow.
What are your thoughts?
First of all, it's so similar in so many ways. I should have mentioned I also struggle with body dysmorphia.
Right, okay.
Believe it or not.
Right.
Sometimes I'll be
It's hard to believe because, I mean, me kama audience.
Yes. That's
like the rest
thing.
of your audience
Yes.
probably look at you and go like, I want
Yes.
to look like
She
that.
looks
She's so
amazing.
confident. She looks just
Yeah.
amazing in everything she wears. Everything looks great.
Yeah.
Now, explaining that to us, who are looking at you and saying, that's exactly what you should look like.
Exactly.
You yourself, you're seeing, oh my God, no.
Something completely different.
Yeah.
I'm like, especially when I was that time when I was quite overweight, I would see things on my body. I would see a hump on my body.
Yeah.
I would see my back. I would look at it and I'm like, what is that?
What is that? Yeah.
I walk by a mirror and I'm like, straight, don't look.
Don't look. Yeah.
Don't look at it.
Yeah, true.
And I really relate with her on so many levels. But first, I would want to congratulate her for actually being very aware of what's happening and embracing the journey.
True.
I also like what she said. I stopped listening to everybody and now I take the advice of my doctor. The doctors are amazing because their interest is in, is my patient okay?
Yes.
Is she on this journey?
Yeah.
And we had already mentioned the body will change every day.
Exactly.
And
those small changes are what keep you healthy.
That's what keeps you healthy.
A fertile person, their body will change with their cycle, especially so with the woman, the female body.
Absolutely.
And so we just need to embrace and accept that this is who we are and how our bodies are supposed to behave. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the thing with relatives, it's so unfortunate because yes, there's this African concept of, that's how my family is.
Yeah.
That's how my sisters are. Until and unless you give them that power, that's the only way they're going to use it against you.
Yeah.
So those people who say mean, snidey, and sneaky comments, avoid. It doesn't matter who they are. Avoid them. And when you build it, of course, it's not an overnight thing because one day that thing will be coming to you and it will be bouncing off.
True.
Because even if they say, you've added so much weight, tell them, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm in a happier place. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
You've lost so much weight.
That's true.
This is me.
Yeah.
And I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with it.
True.
So it will all have to come from her.
True.
But I'm so happy that she has everybody around her who is, unfortunately, everyone has an opinion, but then she has the right people.
Yeah, she's built the right community around herself. Yeah.
And that's all she should stick on.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, everyone will always have an opinion.
True. And it's not necessarily to your best interest, right?
It's not always.
Yeah.
It's not
true.
always. And then now, when you start looking hot, there's a word we like using at our Nairobi bariatric group.
Yeah.
We call it hotness. And now that's when now they're starting to sneak in like, hey, what did you do?
Yeah.
And mind you, the bottom line of all this is projection. Projection.
I like that you brought that up.
Exactly.
My personal point of view and also health, as a health practitioner or a medical professional, I'm one of those strong advocates for if you have an issue with yourself, fix yourself before you cause damage to others.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the people who have a negative opinion on what you look like, whether you're tall, whether you're short, or your ears sit like this, or okay, fine. You have so many opinions, but I feel like you're projecting onto me the issues you have with yourself. And I'm an easier target. Yeah. It's easier to project and lash out than it is to sit myself down and fix myself.
Exactly.
And I feel if we started with ourselves, it's one of those places where the healthier you are as a person, the less you care about what somebody else looks like. I've never walked around mentioning, oh my God, you look so big now. What has happened? What has changed? Or, oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. Because again, you could be sick. I'm a health provider. I know.
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
So it's not, I feel like maybe the message should be stop telling people anything about the way they look. Stop commenting on people's bodies. Just stop. So that you don't have to think, oh, did I offend them? Did I not? Will it offend? Yeah. Just stop.
And most likely, everyone who knows they are having a body change, they know. They're very
acutely aware that something has changed.
Exactly.
You don't need to come and hold my hand and point Ebu, over here, this is what is happening, right?
At your tumbo.
You think I don't know? I'm sitting here. I mean, I'm the one who's having to do like this and the pants are refusing, right? So we need to start with fixing ourselves these wounds that we all have been inflicted on. Because, I mean, growing up, I remember my struggle was the opposite. So I come from a family of average height people.
Yes.
So sort of almost your height and slightly below.
Yes.
But then as a teenager, I had to go on medications. I had an injury in my eye. And I had to go on steroids for a long period of time. So during that time, it stunted growth and I became moon-shaped. Is the best way to describe it. I was round and short. And the effect it had on me was pretty much devastating because, again, you're a teenager, you're learning about your body, you're learning about yourself, you're around people. I'm like the smallest person in the room everywhere I go. And the overall effect was, okay, this really sucks. Like, I'm praying. Can I pray to get taller? Like, not even to lose the weight. I'm like, if I got taller, the weight would come off. But over time, and especially I'm very grateful to my parents because, again, also they're in the medical profession. So they were able to sit me down and explain, this is for a short time. This is your medications. Don't stress about it. You're healthy. You can see through both eyes. We've managed to save that eye. So can we focus on that? You have vision. You didn't go blind. And they helped me become very confident in myself. So I keep meeting like people who know me from my social media. And they're like, oh my God, you're so tiny. I've always imagined you're like this big person. You look so tall in your photos. I'm like, yeah, it's called angles, guys. It's called angles. But now I don't have as much to do with my body. I dress my body for what it's doing.
Exactly.
I have sections in my wardrobe that are, okay, pre-period.
Yes.
I have sections that are, okay, now we are looking suave and we are looking, we're looking, so we can just show this off. Because of that, I feel like I don't need to comment on somebody else's body. I've never, even for my patients where it's a health thing, we don't talk about weight until later.
Exactly.
We talk about the things we need to change and why it's important to change. If you don't want to know your weight, because some people are triggered by standing on a scale.
Let me tell you, now that you've mentioned it, during that time, because I was very aware of how much weight I had added, every time I would go to the hospital, in the triage, I would tell the nurse, please, I beg you, I'm going to stand on this scale. Don't say a word.
Don't tell me.
You write it down. But don't say it. And probably I'm struggling with it. In fact, I made a choice and an option not to rely on the scale.
Exactly.
It can mess you up.
Exactly. Because it's unlikely that your weight has even changed much. But the way your clothes fit, the healthier you're getting, the way they fit, you actually know, okay, I'm actually on the right track.
Exactly.
But the weight is saying, if anything, because muscle is heavier than fat.
Today is water retention. Tomorrow is something else. In the morning, you weigh less than in the evening. It could be anything.
It's completely normal. So we need to start to embrace those conversations. Like I was saying, if you come into my office, I'm very respectful. If you don't want to know your weight, it's for me to know because it's about the health side of things. I won't even communicate about it. I'll ask you straight, look straight, step on the scale, step away, turn around. I'll document it and we move along. Because I don't need to re-traumatize you on that.
Exactly.
So just again, on advice side, if we're looking at teenage girls now, girls in the early 20s, they're seeing so much. And now I feel like they have even more access to social media and the internet is showing you so much more. TV has become, I mean, how many options do you have?
Oh, goodness, it's
right?
true. Yes.
So you keep being bombarded with images of the perfect body. And you keep being shown, and especially now in, like you've said, in the African context, it's even more different. It's more challenging because the dark-skinned women, the aim is curves. The aim is, I'm supposed to be huge here, and then wasp theme here in the middle. What advice would you give that girl who is being bombarded on an everyday basis from everything she looks like online, from the friends that she hangs out with, from family members who are making snide or rude comments to her? What advice would you give her?
Wow, that's a very, very good question because in fact, my aim, my audience, I really love talking to much younger audience so that when they're coming now into changes of their bodies, they're able to have confidence. And what I can tell them is that bodies change all the time. They're still growing. There's a long way to go. Probably it will never change.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
unless you're an athlete, even athletes, we've seen
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Exactly.
from muscles to
now
a
a
gut.
chubby guy.
These things
Exactly.
happen.
Yeah.
Don't just look your best self.
Yeah.
Be healthy.
Yeah.
If you're in sports, join the sports. If concentrate on what you're good at. You could be the best musician.
Yeah.
You could be the best dancer, the best drummer, the
True.
best pianist.
There are more
Focus
important
on
things
that.
to
There are more
focus on.
important things than image.
Yeah.
And this social media is not real. Every time you take a photo, there's so much Photoshop and
angles
tuning and
also.
angles.
If I know my fupa is fuparing, I'm turning a certain way. Yeah.
I'll make it disappear.
Exactly.
It's not real.
Yeah.
So be yourself.
Yeah.
Let your personality shine. The world will catch up.
Right.
The world will catch up.
I love that.
Yes.
I have a final challenging question in terms of advice.
Yes.
What would you advise your body shamers? What should you advise the body shamers, the cyber bullies who come after people because of their bodies? What would be your advice to them?
Very simple. Please work on yourselves because you're definitely projecting. I've never seen Beyonce saying, "Oh gosh, look at her waistline,"
right?
Or J-Lo saying, "You need to work on that stomach." Let me tell you, whenever you're high above there, in your mind, in your body, in your mentality, there will never be a chance that you'll have something negative to say about somebody who you think is not fitting your standards. Work on yourself. Even you yourself, like just research. Make the best out of yourself so that you can also come from a place of information to even when you're hearing other people around you talking things, tell them, hey, come on. Mothers look like that after they've given birth. Then don't get pressure. Just because the Kardashians will come out of labor ward and have a 24-inch waist. It's okay.
It's okay.
They have their ways. If you don't have, it's okay. Take 5 years to
take your time. Let your body do what it needs to do.
Let it heal. Let it heal. But please work on yourself so that you don't bleed on others. Only hurt people hurt people.
That's true.
And then it's very cowardly and shameful. And then utambia Mungu nini? At the entrance. Ati gosh. Ati you mean... But I was only saying...
I was only trying to improve her life.
It's Shaito who told me. No. Please be kind. And not just even body shaming. Just anything negative. If you don't know a person's story, please leave them.
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
Don't have even if you thought the thought, nobody's forcing you to sit down and write it. Don't. That's why we have filters in our brain.
Thank you. That's why we're adults. So that we can have the willpower not to let our invasive thoughts come out. Because sometimes I see those comments and I'm like, come on, you're not 5. 5-year-olds are allowed to say 5.
You could have taken a breath and stepped away.
Thank you.
You didn't have to participate. A
5-year-old will look at you and say, why are you so fat? But that's a 5-year-old. But if you're a grown person, we are taught to take care of our thoughts, to take care of our intrusive thoughts, so that you're able to be a kind person. If you weren't going to entertain those ideas, just do it in your heart. But remember, you're just going to be spoiling yourself because it will marinate inside you and maybe turn into something even worse.
A hateful human.
It will make you a hateful, you're walking around with anger, you're walking around spiting everybody. You should be able to see another queen and say, wow, amazing.
For me, what I'd want to be a take home for the audience specifically would be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Fix what you need to fix, because some things are fixable. If you know you're unhealthy and you're worried about your actual health, see a doctor. Don't sit at home and be miserable about it. See the doctor and get to take, like what our audience member who's contributed today has said. You build yourself the right community to help you get out of the rut you're in. If it's something that needs surgical intervention, let's go ahead,
for it.
but in a safe way. If it's something that, I've done everything I need to do, but it's my hormones, for example, because again, working with women especially, we have hormonal disorders that affect our ability to lose or gain weight. There's nothing you will do in the gym for that. So if it's a medical condition, come in and let's treat it as such, so that we stop putting so much unnecessary pressure on ourselves and on those around us.
Yes.
For the shamers, my first one would be shame on you.
Yeah.
Right back on you.
Shame on you.
Because you don't understand the damage you're doing sometimes.
Exactly.
There's no one who's walking around with a issue with their body, whatever the issue is, who's not aware.
Thank you.
Not a single person.
Yeah.
So adding injury and insult to that struggle, it's unfair and it's traumatic, and it can take someone years to recover from it. And again, there's no winning. So you're telling me I'm too big. Somebody else is telling me I look fantastic. Someone else is telling me I'm too skinny. So can you all stop?
Let's stop.
Can we just stop?
Embrace every
think the
sizes
thought and leave it alone.
Yeah, sorry.
So we shouldn't all look exactly the same,
No,
right?
we can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was watching the Barbie movie and I loved what, we all know how Barbies look like. But then there's a part they bring, a Barbie is this and that and that. And I loved how they brought women of all kinds of shapes, sizes, heights and all that.
Because that's real. That's real
reality.
life. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we've had a beautiful episode.
So amazing.
We could talk forever, you and me. But I think we'll leave it there.
Yes.
Again, I'd like to just encourage anyone out there who's struggling with shaming, who's struggling and feeling like I'm alone on this journey, that no, they're not. Even us, even at our big years, we have actually gotten to the point where you have to learn every day. You don't become immune to it. You see the comments, you still feel the negativity, but you can outgrow and you can teach yourself to love yourself. And that's where it should start. Start with you.
And even teach the shamers.
Yeah.
Even teach them.
Start with you and they rub it off on them as well. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So as always, I'll encourage everyone who's joined us on the episode to look at the description bar, find us on our socials. Let's continue engaging on this conversation. I'm really keen to hear what your experiences have been. You can always direct message me if you want to stay anonymous, if you don't want to share publicly. And I'm happy to respond. We can continue to have this conversation. We'll have this conversation in different styles. I also would like to have gentlemen on the show so that we can talk about if they experience the same type of body shaming or have they been shaming other people and not realizing that that's what they're doing. Let's continue to face the difficult conversations head on.
Great.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.